It's back.
They did start again. Oh my god. They've been, dude.
No, the
I swear
mowers.
to you, I thought they were done. It's been like 15, 20 minutes since they last. Damn it.
Well,
This is
I don't know.
terrible.
Will they be done soon? I don't know.
Well, they're doing, you know what it is? It's not the mower, it's the edger now they're using.
Oh, and the blowers.
God,
They're
I hate leaf blowers.
they're the worst.
Yeah. I mean,
And they're
whoever invented those, I swear to God, they just need to be punched in the face with a 2x4.
well, it's like I kind of appreciate them, but then at the same time, like they are like one of the most environmentally damaging, like per work done things that we've ever invented in our lives. It's
And it's
like,
just lazy too.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
freaking lazy.
Yeah. At the university I was working at, I remember one time I was back when I was smoking. I was out on a smoke break with my friend Steven, and
Oh,
there was this young like 21-year-old guy with like a double leaf blower, just waving it everywhere, super loud. And then there's like this 95-year-old guy behind him with a shop mop, just pushing the shop mop and getting more leaves than that other clown was. And I was thinking, man, that 100-year-old guy is doing way more work and being way more effective, and this guy's just lazy with this super loud thing on his back. I hate those things. I can't stand them.
yeah, but they put out way more pollution like per gallon of gas consumed than like your car or your lawnmower or a jet airplane or anything like that. They're like hugely environmentally bad. So another reason to dislike leaf blowers. It sounds like they've quieted down or Melissa went on
They
mute.
No, I didn't go on mute. I think they went to the front yard maybe.
They stopped. They stopped. We have a brief respite.
Until they start again. Oh my god.
Yeah. Well, let's just get started. For those of you just joining us, this is Leaf Blower Talk with Andy and Melissa. No, welcome to our 51st episode of the Who Virgin podcast. I am Andy Wilson, the former Who Virgin, also known as Citizen Bot of Big Shiny Robot. And with me here in the TARDIS are my companions, as usual, Mark De Leon. Say hi, Mark.
Yoo-hoo! Hey.
Anything you want to say about yourself?
Uh, aside from that,
Whoops.
uh,
That was like perfect timing too.
what I want to say is that I was gardening earlier today, and whoever said gardening relieves stress is a damn dirty liar. It's just, oh God, I had to put a tree into the ground, and there was like all these other roots that I had to tear up, and it took what should have taken like what I thought was going to take maybe 15 minutes because I'm stupid. It ended up taking like an hour and a half just to put a stupid tree in the ground.
The old adage is like $50 tree, $100 hole. It's like it's way worse to like do the digging to like make it actually worthwhile.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and here in San Antonio, we got nothing but clay. I mean, it's sloppy, sticky clay, and I was about to lose my mind. So the Lorax owes me one. That's all I gotta say.
It's either hard as a rock or yeah, like gross, slimy, slippery, yeah, awfulness. Like I sat down. Okay, this is funny and tragic at the same time. I had one of those camping chairs, and I put it in the ground, and it's got one of those metal arms, and I was sitting there, and the ground was so soft it like dug in and just went straight down, and my chair fell over, and I fell out of my chair. So whoever saw that had a good laugh. That guy fall over, hilarious. Um, but yeah, terrible, terrible clay soil. Enough about our dirt. Melissa, you're here too.
Yeah, like
Uh,
the add-on at the end. To-
no, you know what? Next week, do you want to introduce your? Oh, we can't next week, but the week after. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
I,
Uh,
I don't care.
There you go.
uh
Like a
I
badge of honor being introduced last.
I
Yay.
I always I don't know. I just it always seemed to flow that way. But I save the best for last.
There
There
you go.
you go. All right.
We love you, Melissa. We don't want you to feel anyway.
Way to pander. Very
We
good.
no. Well, we need.
Quite a pander.
Yeah, yeah. We're incessantly pandering to our
Eager
light-skinned
male baby.
Mexican female demographic.
Yeah.
And you've got mowers and leaf blowers going on at your residence right now.
Yes. But
So
I think they're done. Of course, I said that 20 minutes ago, and I believed it as much then as I do now. So we should just keep
fingers
going.
crossed.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Go away, leaf blowers. Anyway, we do actually have a little bit to talk about uh, on Doctor Who this week. Just yesterday, in an interview with, hold on, let me get it. So just yesterday, in an interview that was published on radiotimes.com, which is the official site of the BBC News, Peter Capaldi says that they know who the next companion is. So they've identified the person. They obviously aren't saying who it is, but he let it slip that it's happening. So let's talk about that. He says there will be a new companion along any minute, which I'm very excited about because obviously I know who that is, and we've been doing a bit of work together already, and it's very exciting because it's a very different sort of take on it. Uh, he added that unlike Clara Oswald, the new arrival will know, quote, very little about the Doctor. Clara had prior knowledge of the Doctor. I was convinced as a human connected to your timeline and so had access to the cosmic nature of the Doctor. She understood a little bit about who he was, and as she was already with 11th Doctor Matt Smith, she knew the Daleks and the TARDIS. Now we have someone who knows very little about the Doctor. So
Hmm.
that is what we know. Um, Reactions.
First, that was rubbish because you didn't say it in a Scottish accent.
Uh,
Uh, Second, enter Brian Blessed.
Not this again.
Which would be kind of cool. But anyway, yeah, I like that. I like that the companion's going to come in with no knowledge of anything, and we can start adventures that way. I really like Clara, but yeah, there was that previous connection, and in a way, it helped bridge the gap. But we need something completely new. But what I'm wondering is this a one season thing? Because if Capaldi's not coming back, are we going to get a new Doctor and a new companion, or is this companion going to be the Clara Oswald of the future, where she bridges the two Doctors? That's what I'm thinking about and slightly concerned about. Yeah, it all depends on who the companion is going to be. Who they is it going to be male this time? Is it going to be somebody who's a male or somebody who's you know what would be kind of cool if we had somebody who was cross-gendered. Just throw people in for a loop. That's what I say.
so just like a non-binary gender,
Right, right,
like
right. Yeah.
huh, that would be interesting. I like especially if it were an alien, where like they have no gender or um, they have like a middle gender or they are oh what's that called? Like when a species can is born as one gender, but they can change into another. Um, yeah,
Oh man.
hermaphroditic. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So
A
I,
hermaphroditic is you have both sexual organs,
oh
right?
yeah, that's right. But there are species of like snail or whatever where like if there's
Worms, yeah.
yeah, where there's more if there's more of one than the other, then they can switch genders.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
just have a worm companion. That'll be interesting.
a worm
or
companion,
or we can have somebody like Data, like just an android. Would be kind of cool. Maybe
a robot. Yeah, it would be
a
interesting.
robot. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
We already had canine. Yeah, so
Canine. I want Canine
that
back.
that wouldn't be such a stretch, I suppose.
Affirmative. I love that.
Yeah. So could be. I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of up for anything. I'm interested in what they're going to do. I think that's open for discussion. Like what they're gonna. Here's my bet though: is if if this season and this companion prove popular, and we see some scripts from Chibnall in this season that are promising, then both Capaldi and the new companion will stick around. Uh, if the companion proves popular and Chibnall's kind of meh, maybe Capaldi bails and lets a new doctor come on. And I don't know if it's all looking like it's going to be rubbish, then they both bail and we get completely new and let them reboot it with new companion, new doctor, the same way Moffat got to with Matt Smith and Amy Pond.
But all the episodes have already been written, haven't they? And he's not listed as being a writer for this coming season.
Have they? Have they all already been written?
I think so. I want to say yeah. I think that's what Moffat said. That they're just working on polishing up the scripts, but that I assumed he meant that they're all written already.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. Um, I mean, it could be, but I had assumed that like like from a production standpoint, like you don't start writing scripts until someone says like, here's a check for your writers to pay them to start writing scripts. And if you're the BBC and you're doing this for budget reasons where you're pushing off the show, then rather than paying writers for longer and uh, like extending that amount of time that you have them on contract, you you like just wait until they've done. I bet they have like some broad story ideas, but
That
I
might be
doubt like maybe they have the Christmas episode script done, but um, I don't know if they've got an entire season. Like, I mean, maybe they do. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I don't know. Melissa, what do you think about who would you like to see as a new companion?
I don't have anybody in particular, but I like to see them have a person of color, whether it's male or female. You know, they've only done that once with Martha, and
Yeah,
they just totally, I mean, they missed the boat completely with her. And I know Marco and I disagree on this,
No,
rather
no, I actually agree with you on that.
yeah,
Remember, we on that part we agree.
yeah. I mean, you know, they just ruined the chance, and a really good actor too. You know, um, so it would be nice for them to try again. I feel like with Moffat, you know, he did make some inroads with the female problem that he's had throughout his tenure, and maybe you know he's learning. Maybe that you know he'll be able to do it right this time, and he's got extra incentive because this is his swan song. You know, so uh, he'll want to go out on a high note, obviously. So he's got extra incentive to really, really do well this time. So it would be nice because I mean, look who we've had since then. We've had Donna, Amy, Rory, Clara, and we can throw River in there. Just all white people. You know,
yeah,
it would be nice for them to put another person of color in there finally. And like I said, I don't care if it's a male or a female, you know, but just and I don't even care if you know British or whatever, it just as long as there's a better representation, because it just doesn't represent the world in which the Doctor kind of orbits, having all white people. I know it's England, but come on. There are people of color in England.
There are definitely people of color in England, and I think, what would it say if they pulled a Captain Marvel and made it a young Muslim character? Something less, the same way that Marvel made Kamala Khan the new Miss Marvel, which is a fantastic comic that everyone should be reading. Um, I think that would be interesting, and it would probably piss all the right people off.
Yeah. And
Um,
especially after the episodes with the Zygons this past
yeah,
season, I feel like they need to walk the walk now. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like,
totally.
I
Right.
mean, they talked a good talk in those episodes. Now it's time to put their money where their mouth is, I feel. A talk is cheap,
Yeah,
Let's see it.
and there are plenty of uh, young Pakistani or Indian people living in uh, Britain who could conceivably be British uh, and also do that. So I think that that's definitely an opportunity, and I'd certainly like to see that.
Hmm.
I think we all agree though that we want to see something other than a young cute female human.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
absolutely.
I can agree with that.
yeah. So
I
we've
definitely.
got plenty of those.
And right now, it's such a hot topic in England too. They have their version of the Tea Party, which is these Britain First. Have you heard of this group?
Yep.
Yes.
Britain First people, just completely bonkers. I'm trying not to cuss when I talk about these people, so you don't have to edit it out. But it's hard. I mean, these people are crazy,
Hey,
and they basically
we're
feel that
we're a
England.
PG-13 podcast. You can get away with some swearing and one fleeting F word. That's the
Is that the rule? One per podcast?
Yeah, one fleeting F word. As long as you're not talking about the actual act, you can then
um,
then I'm gonna stop. Yeah, PG-13. So go for it.
yeah,
Swear
well,
about them because I
they're
hate these guys.
batshit crazy was how I was going to say it,
Yeah,
and then I was trying to find another way without cussing.
yeah, they are.
And they believe that England should be white, that it should be, just Anglo, and they hate people. They much like we're having this discussion about Syrian refugees, and all the racists come out against Muslims, all Muslims, because of it. The same thing's happening over there. I feel like these two countries are a reflection of each other sometimes, in all the worst ways, by the way. And yeah, I think it would rattle some cages over there, definitely. But I think those are cages that need to be rattled. And putting people of color on the screen hopefully helps to kind of normalize it in these people's lives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about their political context. Britain is going to have a referendum, I think the end of next month, the end of April, if I remember correctly, where they're going to vote to continue to be in the EU or not. So, I mean, that's a big deal. And yeah, I mean, as much as I said it would make sense to have someone who was Pakistani or Indian as a because of the long-standing tie. Well, long-standing ties makes it sound like a euphemism. The fact that England owned those countries and raped them for their resources, but there are still a lot of Pakistani and Indian people who live in England, and that would make sense. But I think another avenue would be someone who's Turkish, considering Turkey's bid to join the EU, and that. I mean, these episodes aren't going to air until after all of that is over. but I think they have a chance to make a case for Britain and humanity in general to be something that uh, connects with the wider world, and that doesn't turn in on itself when stuff gets bad. And the EU is going through some hard times. It's definitely not easy to take in tens of thousands of refugees, but it's the thing you have to do. And I think that's a very Doctor Who topic and something that they could handle very deftly without getting too heavy-handed, and having someone who is Turkish or Pakistani or Indian would say a lot about where where their priorities are and how the Doctor feels about this. In as much as we look to the Doctor as an example for what humanity should do in situations like these.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think it necessarily needs to be a political statement, the casting.
No, no, no.
I just want it to be a better reflection of the world in which the Doctor orbits when he's on Earth, at least. And putting in a person of color would do that. So yeah, I mean they don't even have to really mention it, because one of the many ways that they went wrong with Martha was that I feel like they almost did try to get a little political with it. I mean, they put her in a freaking maid costume for 2 episodes, and then her parents. I mean, her mom shows up, as a servant in the end to the master. I mean, that was just crazy, and so they brought her color into the story, and I feel like
Badly.
you don't badly, very badly. I feel like you don't necessarily have to do it. You can't ignore it, but you can't. You don't have to make it into a thing, because again, a part of the reason why I want this is to normalize people of color, and talking about their stigmas constantly isn't going to normalize anything, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I let me reframe what I was saying. It shouldn't be that Doctor Who is trying to make a political statement in their casting,
Right.
but it will be a political statement if this person is anything but a young, white, pretty female.
Yeah.
So I think I think we can't ignore what those implications are in their attempt to greater diversify the world of Doctor Who, and I want to applaud them for that, like proactively, if they are to choose to do that. So I'm excited for whatever they're going to serve up, and I think the possibilities of what those are great and endless. So. Um, but speaking of former companions who are young, British, white, and generally thought of as conventionally pretty, we're going to continue what we've done for the last 5 weeks, talking about the post-Who careers of the Doctors. Now we're going to take on the companions from New Who, and rather than starting from the beginning, we're going to start backwards because this week at South by Southwest, I was able to see a film that starred Karen Gillan, and we talked about kind of breaking it up and starting with this anyway, to rather than starting off with Billy Piper, then we could. It's kind of like we're making a loop back. We ended with Matt Smith, and so we'll start with Karen Gillan and then move backwards from there. Uh, I think one of the most interesting things about Karen Gillan is she's had a better post-Who career than basically any of the Doctors. I think she has had really great success in Hollywood, and I'm generally really loving her work. It's actually uh, her that was one of the reasons that made me want to get into Doctor Who. And so I think that's worth noting in terms of like my story. And I've still just got a huge crush on her. I think she's absolutely adorable. I love Amy Pond, but I love seeing Karen Gillan play different types of characters, and she's really, really good at that. And I love doing that. So let's talk about some of our favorite post Who Karen Gillan roles. Who'd like to go first?
Well, let's start with her first role post two, which was in the Marvel Universe. It's kind of interesting because you have Eccleston and Tennant also involved in the Marvel Universe, and now Karen Gillan as Nebula in Guardians of the Galaxy. And her role isn't all that big, but it was kind of cool that she's in there. And Nebula was actually kind of cool. She was kick-ass. Seeing her fight with, I'm going to forget, Gamora was actually pretty cool. They have pretty cool fight scenes. And she's coming back for the second Guardians of the Galaxy. So I think that was pretty cool, and I'm so glad that she was successful in it because it laid the groundwork for all these other things she's doing now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think is pretty much universally beloved, and the fact that she has a pretty significant role in it really makes me happy because I do love Karen Gillan. I mean, she's awesome. Um, I had, and we don't need to rehash this, but I had my issues with her character sometimes, but it had nothing to do with her. It was all, just in the writing, basically. But I still love the character no matter what. I just wish, certain things had been treated different. So the fact that she is having so much success makes me happy. I wish, because we can't get away with talking about her post-Hugh career without talking about Selfie, which was supposed to be like her introduction, I guess, to the
Yeah.
rest of America who doesn't watch Doctor Who. Excuse me, a major studio, ABC, and they put a lot of promotion behind this, and I gotta say, it started off kind of rocky, but I did watch all 13 episodes, and it really found its pace. This show, it really found its footing, and I wish it would have succeeded better. I mean, you can't really call it a success at all. I mean, it got canceled after its initial 13 episode run. Um, but it was really good towards the end, and I'm kind of sad. I mean, I don't know. Did you guys watch this show? Because I feel like I'm in the minority here.
No, I loved this show, and everyone who I talked to who watched this show knew it and loved it. Like,
Hmm.
I understand that maybe like under 40 kind of female heavy audience wasn't like the ratings blockbuster that ABC
Hmm.
was looking for, but I wish they would have put more faith in this. And
Hmm.
at least it's not another police procedural.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I don't know. I thought this show was great. I thought John Cho was great as the male lead, and you also had a little bit of Doctor Who crossover with David Harewood as her boss, which is a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And although if Selfie had still been going on, then he wouldn't be able to be uh, the main boss in Supergirl, and he's been pretty good in that too. Anyway, uh, not to go too much off track. I love this show because this is one of those times where I felt like she really stretched as an actress, and her voice is almost completely unrecognizable. And she's so funny whenever she talked on like. There's a great clip of her on Conan, like talking about how she came up with this Valley Girl accent, and it's just so funny because it's like you could tell all of her like kind of fascination and hate towards America and vapid American culture at the same time, like all wrapped up in an accent. And I'm like, that's what you do. That's what you do as an actor. it's so good, and it's both loving and mocking at the same time, which I just absolutely adore. And I think she did a great job playing someone who is kind of a detestable character.
Yes.
But you just can't help but love her, even though she's really kind of a horrible person.
Yeah.
The thing is, in her performance, there's an underlying sense of fragility,
Yes.
and that's what sells it. And we got to give John Cho some more love because he's
Ah, yes.
really, really, really good in this. Uh, Overall, like the only reason I saw it to begin with was because of Karen Gillan, and I got the biggest crush on her, and it's always going to be there. So I'll see pretty much anything she's in. But I was surprised that I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool, and it should have been given more than one season at least. But there was some good work being done there, uh, especially by her. But John Cho was really good in this, and I was really hoping this would be a vehicle for both of them.
Yes. Why isn't John Cho more famous? Why
I
doesn't
don't know.
everything he does, like he was in Sleepy Hollow, but his character died like 3 times or something, you
Right,
know?
right.
And he was in the only good season of Sleepy Hollow, I gotta say.
Yep.
The only thing really, really successful that he's been in is the new Star Trek movies, the reboots. But I gotta say, this new one, I know it's just a trailer, but ugh, I'm a little worried, people. I'm
They're
a lot
doing
worried.
they're doing
Never mind little.
reshoots. They're doing reshoots with brand new characters.
Yeah,
And this
that's
movie,
never a
I
good.
know, and it's supposed to come out like anytime soon, and they're doing freaking reshoots with new characters.
Yeah, the trailer looks exactly like a Star Trek movie directed by the guy who directed Fast and Furious should look
Yep.
like, and that scares
Which is
the
what it
only thing.
is.
The only thing that will make me go, besides the fact that I love Star Trek, is that the script was co-written by what's his name?
Ooh,
La la la.
I don't even know who it
I
was written
can't
by.
even. I can't believe I'm forgetting this man's name. You know holy crap.
Here, hang on, I'll find it, and I'll edit this part out.
Was it? It's
I
not
am
Orsi.
drawing such a huge brain fart right now. This is
It's not Orsi, is it? Because he
No,
was
no, no.
booted. Yeah, he was booted.
It's co-written by Simon Pegg.
yes, thank you. I can't believe I
Ah,
forgot his name.
well, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay,
I have issues with Simon Pegg.
okay,
Yeah, I
stop.
know you
No,
do, but
okay,
he's a good
stop,
writer.
stop. For continuity's sake, start that sentence over with like you being excited that it's written by Simon Pegg, so I can do an edit.
Yes, let's do this naturally.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so the only thing keeping me hanging on, the reason why I'll still go see this, besides the fact that I'm a Star Trek fan, is that Simon Pegg did co-write it, and despite Marco's reservations about that,
Boo.
he is a good writer, I think. You look at the stuff that he's actually written, and there's some really good stuff in there, and so that's the only thing that kind of makes me not want to just dismiss this outright, because that trailer just looked horrifying, and I'm like, no, poor John Cho, he cannot have another failure. I know we're supposed to be talking about Karen Gillan, but yeah, I like Marco. I really wish that this had taken off, this show, for the both of them, because these are two of, in my mind, the most likable people out there in terms of actors. They're very likable, and they deserve like bigger success, I think, than they've had.
Well, let me give my theory on this, and it does come back to basically we are racist. And
Everything
that
comes back
that
to.
no, because if you think about it, there was not a white male romantic lead on this show. The top two main actors were an Asian guy and a black guy, and then you have a white female. And so the white male demographic is like, hey, where's my way into this? Screw you. That not everything is for you, stupid white males. Shut up. You can go watch the 90% of other stuff that is for you. But Asian Americans, Asian men have a very hard time in Hollywood. They are always chosen to be the sidekick, the best friend. You almost never see a movie outside of the realm of like kung fu with an Asian male lead, and it's the same problem that African American and Latino actors face. It's just, Hollywood thinks that you have to be white. That white is standard, and that anything that isn't white is somehow a niche demographic that is only appealing to that demographic. So you'd never see, like, when they remade Old Boy. Yeah, well, no offense to Josh Brolin, but we didn't need Josh Brolin to be the lead in Old Boy. It's like that movie was fine, um, when in its original version. It didn't need a white male actor. Um, so I think that part of the reason people didn't glom onto Selfie was people just like weren't willing to give John Cho the chance as like your male lead, except for like young, open-minded millennials and late Gen Xers who aren't racist, who like seeing it, but like our parents and other people who unfortunately make up a larger portion of the like Nielsen ratings audience for whatever reason, they don't get into it, and they're all busy watching NCIS because they'd rather see Mark Harmon.
Uh,
So yeah,
See, and
Well,
I
it,
thought it was
it's Mark
something far
Harmon.
less, far less onerous. I felt like what helped sink this show was the title. I mean,
yeah,
there's a huge
Yeah,
backlash against selfies, and I know because I am a part of that backlash. I am a card-carrying member of that backlash because I just see it like I love my nephew to death. I mean, I couldn't love them more if they were my own kids. But I'll go visit them or I'll go out to eat with them, and if I leave my phone on that table, they will take 20 zillion selfies and then hide them in a folder that I find later. And then I'm like, what the hell is this? They love selfies, and I just kind of hate them. I mean, I don't understand why people need photographic evidence of how stupid they are, you know? And a name, I got to tell you, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm a Doctor Who fan and I knew who Karen Gillan was, because let's face it, a lot of America doesn't know who she is, doesn't watch Doctor Who.
yep,
If it wasn't for that and the fact that I love John Cho, I wouldn't. I see something called Selfie, I'm probably going to skip over it, which is sad, you know. But I watch a lot of TV shows, and if I'm going to put something new on my shelf, I basically have to take something else off, you know.
yep,
And I'm not going to do that for something called Selfie, although that nearly backfired on me because this season, a show called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is basically my favorite new show, and I love, love,
right,
love this show. And normally I would never watch something called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend because I would assume it's some misogynistic man, you know, who is ranting about his crazy ex-girlfriend, and it's nothing like that at all. But let's face it, a lot of people aren't going to watch something called Selfie. Also, in the pilot, the opening scene, and I guess I have to explain it. So, spoiler alert if you're going to watch this later.
it's
There's a
worth
scene on an
explaining.
airplane, and Eliza, played by Karen Gillan, gets sick and barfs into two bags, and when she's walking down the aisle with them, they explode. That is an awful, awful way to start your show. Really bad. And that's a gag that a show grasping for life in its eighth season should pull. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, so I can see how a lot of people probably tuned out of this show based on that pilot. The pilot was not very good. And
No,
if it wasn't for Karen Gillan and John Cho again, and just how much I just love these two people, I probably would not have tuned in for episode two. So
you're right.
I think it had a lot of things going against it. Then you know, I mean, this title, the only thing worse in terms of titles was Cougar Town. You know what I mean?
Yep.
On ABC as well, initially. So you gotta wonder if somebody in marketing just doesn't get it or something. You know?
I think that is it, and I think, I mean, the whole thing that this was supposed to be a take on My Fair Lady,
Mm.
I think they should have played into that better.
Yeah,
Um,
they even named her Eliza Dooley. That's
yeah,
her character's name. And I love My Fair Lady. I love
yeah,
Eliza Doolittle. So I mean, yeah, that would have been better too. But really, what they needed was a better name for the show and a better pilot. And I
yep.
think that those two things would have gone a long way towards making this show a success. And it's just really too bad because they really found their stride and it became this really sweet, sweet show that I feel like it was almost like a respite from some of the more serious fare. Because there's a lot of great TV shows, but a lot of them are intense these days. And it was a nice respite once a week.
And let me just also say that I'm I'm not trying to say that ABC is racist, um,
Yeah,
but because I want to point out that we do
Blackish.
have Blackish and Fresh Off the Boat,
Oh,
both of which I think are very funny. And I think that actually Selfie would have worked incredibly well on there. If you had one night where it's The Goldbergs, Blackish, Selfie, and Fresh Off the Boat, I would watch all four of those shows back to back with intense pleasure. Like that's just perfect. So I don't know, that would hit me like right in the comedy feels.
the thing with Selfie is that it's one of those shows that had a niche audience at first, and it didn't really get the chance to spread its wings, so to say.
Yeah.
Because I think with the second season, it would have found its audience, like a bigger audience. So that's the thing with it. But this happens to shows all the time. I really dug Suburgatory
Yeah.
when it was on, and it went away because the audience wasn't there, and it was a damn good show, very good writing, strong acting. It was very very good, but sometimes for better or worse, the audience just isn't there, and it doesn't mean that the show wasn't worthwhile. I think Selfie was. I really think it was. If more people would have given it a chance, it would have had 4 or 5 seasons at least. But unfortunately, the audience just came on way too late.
I think it's really hard on a network show where you're expected to get a large portion of the audience. And so I think that's why we're seeing a lot more happening on cable. And we're seeing shows that are allowed to have only a small niche audience, and then they're considered huge hits. Like Inside Amy Schumer has nowhere near the number of viewers every week that like even Selfie did, and Selfie got canceled. But that's the difference between cable
Right.
and network. Network,
Expectations.
you're expected to bring in so many more people. Um, so I don't know. I mean, we've had this conversation about like how streaming is the future, and here we are all like watching Daredevil furiously because of how good that is. But I guarantee that if Daredevil was on TV, it would like not be doing that well. It would be getting about the same ratings as Agent Carter and Agents of Shield.
It had been on TV way back in the day, and it wasn't really all that good.
Yeah, Daredevil.
You don't remember? There was that Daredevil versus Hulk or
Oh
Daredevil and
yeah,
Hulk thing.
yeah.
Yeah, and then you had previous incarnations of the Flash with John Wesley Shipp. I guess it just wasn't the time, or maybe networks didn't really understand the show. But here's the thing: if Selfie were on Netflix, like Kimmy Schmidt is
uh,
on Netflix,
yeah.
I think that would have been the better route. And who knows? Maybe
I
well,
was
I
I
don't
was
think Netflix is going to pick it up at this point. But that would have been a better route for this particular show.
Actually, I semi agree with you. I was going to mention that maybe a streaming platform, but I would prefer something like Hulu, like what they did to uh
Mindy Project.
yeah, the Mindy Project, where they release once a week. I don't know if this is the exact show that's good for binging. I would rather them meet it out, You know what I'm saying? Once a week. I don't want to binge watch. I don't think Selfie. Yeah, because I guess because for me, like I said, it was sort of like a respite. That's that sweet little show that was, a breather from the more intense stuff that you might watch, like say Daredevil or something. I think it would work well once a week, kind of like the Mindy Project. And Hulu would be a good place for it because, like Andy said, that the need for the ratings, that immediate big number wouldn't be there, and it would be allowed to grow its audience because there is a sizable audience for this show. They just never found it.
Right. I agree.
Cool. So enough of Selfie. I mean, we all love Selfie, but did anyone see Oculus?
No.
Okay,
Nah.
I did not. It seemed like everyone, like a lot of people did, but I never did. Okay, good. We won't talk about that.
But that was pre her leaving the doctor,
Oh,
wasn't
that's
it?
true. I guess it was. I guess it was
Yeah.
concurrent with her time on Doctor Who.
Stick to
Um,
the framework, Andy.
oh, come on, by like barely. Anyway, we also had right after her leaving Doctor Who, she was on National Terrorism Strike Force San Diego Sport Utility Vehicle, aka NTSFSD SUV, on Cartoon Network Adult Swim. Anyone else see that besides me?
Mm,
No, I haven't seen it.
no,
No.
That's
never.
a really dumb show, but pretty funny in a lot of other ways. Just tiny little 15-minute episodes. It started off as a joke on the show Children's Hospital, which was also an Adult Swim live action show. And they would do fake commercials for NTSF SD SUV, and then they went ahead and made the show. Um, Dumb show, but she's pretty good in it. Not much more to say other than that. Um, what about The Big Short? Who saw that?
It's on my list because I'm so backed up with movies that I need to watch, and that's one movie that I just have to get to. I really want to watch this movie.
Yeah, I haven't.
Melissa, you see
No,
it, or it's me?
nope. This is on you if you've seen it.
Okay, this is this was one of my favorite episode or one of my favorite movies of last year. I think it deserved all of the Oscar buzz that it got. She has a really small part in it, but she plays it super well. She is um, a government regulator who works at the Securities and Exchange Commission. And The Big Short is all about what led up to the financial crisis in 2008 and the people who saw it coming and got rich off of it by betting against the market. But all the while, they're yelling and screaming about how like a crisis is going to happen, a crisis is going to happen. They just kept making bets the other way, and they ended up being right. So there are these small-time hedge fund guys. Basically, they're running a tiny operation, literally out of one of their parents' garages, and they get Brad Pitt to help them uh, make a bunch of derivatives buys to bet against the marketplace. And one of them's like, "Hey, doesn't your sister work for the SEC? Can't she like blow the whistle on all this stuff because it's really, really corrupt?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." So they go to Vegas to this giant convention where all of the financial firms are selling all of their derivatives and all of their different financial packages, and she and Karen Gillan is this sister, and she's like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm not here to actually look into it as part of the SEC. I'm here job hunting. I'm here on my own dime because I'm trying to get a job with Goldman Sachs." And like she sees one of the guys who's a vice president for Goldman Sachs and like wants to go party with him, and like that's it. It's really a tiny small role, but she's great in it, and she delivers this great part of this 1-2 punch that's part of The Big Short, where it's like yeah, the government was really asleep at the switch because they were just as interested in looking the other way and cashing in on it at the same time. Where you have a literal government regulator who's trying to go and work on the other side of it, so she's not going to rock the boat. Um, so she was great. Sorry to spoil the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but she's great in it, and I don't think that. Spoiler alert: the big banks almost completely destroyed the economy, and we almost all got completely effed. A lot of us did get pretty effed by that, but we didn't get completely effed. So there we go.
You saw the movie, but I lived through it.
We all lived through
We
it.
all lived through it.
Oh my gosh. So the very last thing worth talking about with Karen Gillan is again what uh, prompted me to want to talk about her this week is at South by Southwest this week. I saw the premiere of a movie called In a Valley of Violence, which is from director Ty West, who is best known for making a bunch of horror films. He did one of the shorts on VHS, if anyone saw that. Otherwise, he's not super well known. He's part of the whole like Joe Swanberg mumblecore kind of indie film development people. So you probably won't have seen most of his films. You will want to see this, even if you're not a fan of Karen Gillan. Everyone should see this movie because it is a great western, and it's just a lot of fun. So, in a valley of violence, uh, a mysterious man with a troubled past, played by Ethan Hawke, is trying to make his way to Mexico and run away from whatever problems he's trying to run away from. And he's accompanied by the most adorable little dog you will ever see. If you remember a couple of years ago on the Academy Awards, there was a movie, The Artist, that won a bunch of awards. They had a really cute dog in that. It's not the same dog. This dog was trained by the same trainer who trained that dog. Um, but she's really adorable. And the whole time, Ethan Hawke is like talking to his dog, and he's like, I don't know. I told you I wasn't gonna be hard and I wasn't gonna kill people, but now maybe I have to make that promise. And the dog is kind of like his conscience, and um, people keep asking about the dog, like, does she do tricks? And he's like, she bites. So she's like an integral, awesome part of this movie. Cute dog, one of the main reasons to go see this movie. Um, so he's trying to make his way through this town because uh, if if he cuts through this valley, it'll save him 2 or 3 days on his way to Mexico. On his way in, though, he's stopped by hey, another one of our friends from the Hooniverse, Bern Gorham, who is playing a drunk Irish preacher, and who warns him like, no,
Wow.
yeah,
Stereotype much?
yeah, I know. This movie is full of stereotypes, and it's hilarious and awesome. He warns him not to go through there. That town is full of sinners, and you don't want to get mixed up in it. They call that the Valley of Violence, and if you go through there, there will be trouble for you. And he's like, well, I got to do it. So he goes through town and tries to stop and get supplies, and while there, uh, the one of the town's residents, played by James Ransom, uh, basically picks a fight with him, tries to get him to do a gunfight with him. He says no, and he's like, okay, well then we'll just have a fair fist fight. Ethan Hawke knocks him the crap out, and out comes Karen Gillan, who is the proprietor of the town's hotel, and she's like, "What did you do to my fiance?" And she's like, everyone's like, "Get out of town! You're not wanted here," etc., etc. Turns out the guy Ethan Hawke knocked out is the deputy and also the son of the town marshal, played by John Travolta. And this is Travolta at his like hammiest, and it's really funny. And so he warns him, "Get out of town. I think I know who you are. I peg you as someone who used to be with the cavalry. I don't want the feds to come in and get mixed up in my business. So rather than arrest you and have them come and get you, you just leave and we'll let bygones be bygones." Well, on his way out of town, uh, he decides, the guy he knocked out decides he hasn't had enough. He tries to take revenge on him, beats him pretty bad, leaves him for dead, and he swears to take revenge. So he goes back into town and decides to kill everybody who did him wrong. Uh, in this, uh, Karen Gillan also has a younger sister who's also kind of sweet on Ethan Hawke, and maybe aids him during part of this. But they have a great interplay about the two of them of like, what should we do? Should we help this guy? Should we stay loyal to her fiance, and so on and so forth. Karen Gillan is one of the best parts of the movie, and she's again like kind of in that same way where with Selfie she's able to adopt that great like Southern California vapid accent. She really nails that like sort of West Texas twang, and is able to really lay into that. And she's also, kind of like when she's playing Nebula, playing a real kind of hard ass bitchy character too, which is a lot of fun when we allow female characters to be both feminine and prim and proper, and also have a very hard edge at the same time. Uh, both of them, both her and her sister, felt like really fleshed out characters, and they inhabit the roles really, really well. Overall, this is just a great like Western thriller. It's actually really funny in a lot of places, and a lot of things are played for laughs. Given the talents of this cast, that not completely out of bounds of what you would think, and it's just done incredibly well. So this is probably coming out sometime in September, according to IMDb and Wikipedia. So hopefully everyone will get to see that. But it's really a good film. One of the best things I saw at South by Southwest, and definitely worth everyone checking out.
That is a month before our Comic Con, and she's going to be here
Oh
for our
yeah,
Comic Con. So that's serendipitous almost. Yeah,
that's
cool.
that's very good.
Yeah. I'll make sure to say hi to her for you.
I think I'm gonna come down. I'll
And,
see if I can do
no,
that.
you can stay home for that one because I'm probably going to ask her to marry me.
Okay.
Uh,
As long as I can be the best man and catch the bouquet, then we'll be okay. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, so I don't know why. Well, I guess because Travolta's involved. Is this kind of Tarantino-ish?
um, it it would be, except we just had a Tarantino Western in The Hateful Eight, and this is really nothing like that. This is more like if you took an old spaghetti Western and took the same sort of like low budget sensibilities, but did it in 2016 and with like some modern humor in it. Um, I don't know other than how to explain it other than that. It is a little bit Tarantino-ish, just in that it's a little bit wry. It's a little bit snarky, a little bit talky, but it seemed to me to have more in common with like real old school westerns in the vein of like Shane or High Noon or something like that. You know, mysterious guy comes into town, cleans up the bad guys, um, kind of ultra violent, but not nowhere near as like bloody as a Tarantino
You know.
film
Okay.
is. So, uh, yeah, Hateful Eight is definitely its own thing. This is very different from that.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. So, plus it has Karen Gillan in it.
Yeah.
So
Kind
did
of.
this movie find distribution? Because I know some movies that go to like these festivals or South by Southwest, a lot of times they're looking for a distributor and they don't have one yet. So do you know? Because I mean, you might be talking about this movie that nobody's ever going to see unless they were at that screening. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
are we going to be able to watch this soon?
Yeah. Universal is picking it up, and it says they've got a release date of September 16th, 2016.
Yeah.
So,
So during
I'm
prestige movie time.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, it's a little bit earlier than that. Um, so
Well, because that's right around the time of the Toronto Film Festival, and that pretty much kicks off the whole prestige movie time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Maybe that's what they're waiting for, I guess.
that's true. So I think it's. I think they're probably waiting for that. I mean, it's definitely not a summer movie, and I think if they were to release it now, it would get forgotten between. I mean, we've got Batman v Superman next week, and then that kind of kicks off the summer movie season in March, as far as I'm concerned. And we kind of go from now until July with like blockbuster after blockbuster. So it's definitely good for it to wait until at least September. Uh, you get a lot of movies released September, October, uh, where they weren't made for very much, and they make $50 million back at in their first couple of weeks, and that's all they need to make back their production, plus a little extra. So, but yeah, this is getting distributed, and but everyone is very positive on the movie. So like on Rotten Tomatoes, it's got an 89% approval rating so far, and on Metacritic, it's got like 7.5 out of 10. I'd put it a little bit higher than that. I'd put it at like an 8 or an 8.5. I thought it was pretty good.
Wow, that good. Huh.
This was one of the best things I saw at South by Southwest. Um, it's not very it's not an artsy fartsy movie. This is definitely this is a western. This is a straight up western told with modern sensibilities, but it's as low budget a film as it can be, having Ethan Hawke and John Travolta and Karen Gillan in it. So
Cool.
yeah, I
Yeah,
liked it.
definitely gonna watch that one.
Yeah. So look for that when it comes out. It'll probably be a smaller release. Like you might have to hunt around for it, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they do some test screenings over the summer and people really like it and it becomes a thing. Uh, you know what it really reminded me of a lot is that video game Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, no
Uh,
way.
yeah, there are lots of, I don't know. For some reason, it just felt that way. It just, very. I mean, that was definitely like a super westerny sort of thing, really violent. Um,
Very well scripted.
yeah, but
Very,
yeah,
very well.
the script is very good. The characters all have depth to them, even though I mean they're all supposed to be playing these like kind of archetypes. Uh, all of them have motivations. They all have backstory. Um, the the character's backstory here is kind of similar to Leonardo DiCaprio's in The Revenant, um, but I don't know. I thought this was actually more interesting than The Revenant because I thought The Revenant was a little bit overwrought. So there we go. I
I
really
agree with you on that one.
yeah
Way overpraised on that one.
yeah. So yeah, everyone should look forward to September. So mark your calendars.
Cool.
Yeah. That kind of does it for Karen Gillan, unless there's anything else people can think of.
No, I just think she should be a bigger star than she is. She's really good. She's charming. She's talented. I mean, she seems pretty smart, and it would be nice if she got, as much as I love her in Guardians of the Galaxy, something where people can recognize her
Yeah,
in it too.
that's kind of my only problem with Guardians is I feel like I mean we lose like her most distinct feature under with the bald head and the blue face uh and the robot suit and whatever. That being said, it's a very different character, and I think she does it super well. I don't like. I could just watch her like uh, shove soldiers and be like, "Get out of my way!" all day long. Like she's really fun to watch in that. I have a good time with it. Uh, I love that scene where she's there with Thanos uh, and what's his name, and she's like, sounds fair, thanks, Dad.
Thanks,
Just
Dad.
oh my gosh, she is evil, and she's like, and you kind of agree with her. It's like Thanos is being a total jerk to her, and so is Ronan, and she's just like, well. I'm along for this ride, I guess. What else am I gonna do? I don't care. I like she has motivations of her own, which is to go and like show up her sister, which it's never like super explicit that that's what's going on, but you get that, and she plays that extremely well. So you know, good job by for filling in the subtext by Karen Gillan underneath all that makeup and prostheses and all of that. So good job. That's a sign of a truly great actor.
I think her role is going to be explored more in the sequel because I think the focus is going to be on family ties because we're going to get Jason of Spartax revealed finally, which is going to be Kurt Russell. So there's going to be that tangent with father and son and sisters battling each other. So I expect her role to be expanded and for her to be featured a bit more this time around. Either way, she's going to have enough material to do the con circuits for the next 2 decades. So she's going to be okay.
She could do the con circuits now for the next 2 decades and have plenty. I mean, just being Amy Pond would be enough.
Right.
But being Amy Pond and Nebula, it's like she's like king. She's like royalty. So I don't know. I at least I think so. We love you,
Yeah,
Jared Gillen.
no.
You asked me, Mark, if I was gonna do like the Doctor Who Ultimate Experience panel at Salt Lake Comic Con, and I'm like, I don't know, and I'm like, the only reason I'm not is because it's not Karen Gillan. It's like, yeah, Matt Smith and Alex Kingston, yeah, okay. But it was like Karen Gillan, I'll be like, oh, I'm there.
Alex Kingston, man. I mean, at least for River.
I like River, but I'm not like I'm I'm nowhere near in love with River as much as I am with Amy Pond. Like I don't know, Amy. I just for some reason I just really love Amy.
Because she's cute as hell. And she's
Oh
awesome. And her character, the way she, and this speaks to her skills as an actor, the way she emotes and relates to the Doctor, there's just so much emotional attachment there, and it's so real. It feels real and tangible. That's what really made Amy Pond work, and how she's integral to the Doctor's life and timeline. That all of that is what made Amy Pond work, and she's fantastic in it.
yeah,
I kind of wish we could have her back, see her at some point, but at this point, I don't think it's ever going to happen again.
I think she's too big for the universe, and I think she did everything she needed to do. I mean, she rebooted the entire universe.
Right.
I mean, we can't ask much more of a companion than that.
Right.
So I don't know. I think she did her time. She did her she did her stories, and she doesn't need to. I I am very happy with as much Amy Pond as I got. Um, that being said, I'd love to see Rory again for a little.
Rory, man, I love me some Rory.
I
He's
think
like,
You can
and
watch him every week on that other show. What is it called? I'm
oh,
drawing blanks on
oh,
all the shows.
Legends of
Legends of Tomorrow,
Tomorrow.
which I don't like as much as I did initially.
Oh, it's kind of fallen off, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still enjoying it. But yeah, it's not quite as good.
It's not
Um,
in TV at all. Anything.
I'm I'm still watching it because I still like him, and I still it's here's the problem is I only care about half of the characters on the show now.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. That's the
So
problem. My
so
my daughter loves it, so I watch it because I'm a big Rory fan. And some of it's okay, and I'm invested in a couple of characters. But my daughter is the one really pushing me. She reminds me all the time, Dad, Legends of Tomorrow. We haven't seen it. Let's watch it. And I'm like, okay.
aw, that's cute. My
I mean, it's fun, but it's pulling an arrow a lot quicker than Arrow did.
yeah,
Yeah. It really
yeah.
Yeah,
is. I am, and I'm not enjoying this villain. There's so much potential with this villain, and I feel like they're kind of wasting it.
They like Vandal Savage was so cool every time they brought him into like the animated universe, and like the number of times he was the bad guy
oh,
in
and
like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, that was always great. And he was the bad guy on
Young
another
Justice.
on Young Justice too.
He
That's
was
right.
great in Young Justice.
Yeah. Uh, but Mark, like, count your blessings because like my kids could care less about like any show that's actually on TV. They want to watch PewDiePie. They want to watch Markiplier. They want to watch Mosh. They want to watch Good Mythical Morning and all these YouTube quote unquote shows. I'm like, that's not a show. That's not on television.
God, that's what it is with my nephews. They come over and I'm like, "You want to watch some Netflix?" Because to me, Netflix is like, there's so much awesome stuff on there, and they're like, "No, we watch Good Mythical Morning." Yeah, I've seen that show. It's stupid, and I mean, it's harmless, but it's still like, oh God, do we have to spend 15 minutes watching them eat stuff? Really? This is I agree, Marco. You are quite lucky that your daughter loves all this stuff. She's like your little mini me.
I am. She's
Uh,
awesome. I love her
yeah,
to death.
because if I had kids, I have a feeling they'd be like my nephews. They would just want to watch freaking YouTube all the time. And there's some good stuff on YouTube. I subscribe to quite a few things, but yeah, they would not sit and watch Legends of Tomorrow with me. But as much as that show has fallen off, I do take solace in the fact that if you look at I want to call him Rory. What's his real name? Arthur Darvill.
Yeah.
If you look at his Instagram page, he is having a blast. I mean, he posts a lot of pictures from the set, and he basically says that this is his dream job and that someone should pinch him. Like he can't believe how lucky he is to
That's
be on
awesome.
this show. And so I take solace in the fact that even if this show turns to complete crap, which I'm afraid it might. I think they're still, they're hanging on, but if it turns to complete crap, at least he's getting paid well and he loves it. So at least there's that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And even, I mean, I'm still watching Arrow. And this is like, Legends of Tomorrow has a long way to go before it hits
Mhm.
that low. So I'm fine with it. I think it could redeem itself. It could figure out where it's going a bit better. Because those first few episodes were great and they just need to turn it around a little bit.
So
Um,
is this our Rory companion post who? I mean, we didn't talk about Rory,
Ah,
but
yeah.
you
Let's
know what? He's a companion and we should talk about
save
him.
it.
And this is
Save
the
it.
perfect
Save it.
yeah.
segue.
No, he deserves his own thing because
Okay, so we'll do that next week then.
not next week
Oh,
because
no, that's right.
next week Mark and I are going to do our
Woo!
just in live in person a post Salt Lake Comic Con fan experience thing where Mark will tell you all about the Doctor Who stuff he saw there, because I'm probably not going to do most of it. I will do some of it, but
Sure.
Mark will probably be the main one, and he will tell you all about this. This is your task for next week, Mark. You have to tell me what Matt Smith and Alex Kingston smell like.
Oh yeah. I will be
Oh, you're
reporting.
gonna turn him into that person, the sniffer? Really?
I'm
He's
gonna
gonna be
be.
the sniffer.
I'm gonna be reporting about how I got arrested asking for a lock of what's her name's hair,
Alex.
Alex Kingston. I'm gonna say, can I please have a lock of your hair? Like, arrest this man.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if we can round up anyone else to hang out with us. But we'll be doing that live. But the week after, then we'll talk about Arthur Darvill, and then after that we'll keep going backwards. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
we forgot about Rory. Does that mean we have to do Mickey too? Because I'll just skip out that
No,
one.
well,
Can we just pair Mickey with Rose?
you know what? He wasn't a companion long enough.
he
That's
wasn't.
true. He was only like a part-time one, but he was a companion, and if we're gonna do this, we should do it right.
Charges of racism. We have to avoid that.
Yeah, or sexism too.
Or sexism. Look at Andy's face. He's like, damn it, we gotta cover me.
I know. That's why I'm like, we have to do this.
Well,
It's like, yes, Mom, I want more peas and carrots. Ew.
I like peas and carrots. That
Well,
explains
because
a lot about me.
I do too, except that growing up, they were always from a can, and canned peas and carrots are disgusting. I'm sorry,
Oh,
they're
okay.
mushy and gross.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, canned, no, frozen in the steamer bag. That's HEB brand, frozen in the bag vegetables. Mwah.
With a little bit of plastic cancer. Yeah.
Hey,
Gonna all die someday.
I'm okay.
Yeah, to go
So now we
someday.
went from talking about Rory and Mickey to vegetables. This is our podcast, people.
This is the racism, sexism, vegetable lower power hour.
Oh, awesome.
With that, we will have a somewhat more on topic episode next week. Probably not, but thanks Mark, and thanks Melissa for being here. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you all next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's over.